Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So in this video we from group 4 will present about minimization of e-healthcare systems problems in the developing countries. For introduction, electronic health systems problems must be reduced in developing countries. The e-healthcare systems are becoming a problem for the developing countries because of their lack in basic ICT knowledge, insufficient electricity resources, and absence in acceptance among individuals in the society.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Nurul Akilah binti Ramli, metric number 1910634. Okay, so for my part, I will present for the first main point. First and foremost, the e-healthcare system are becoming an issue for the developing countries because of their lack in basic ICT knowledge and skills. It is well known that ignorance and lack of skill had always been a brick in the way of achieving success in some of developing countries. So next, I will continue explain about the reason why lack of basic ICT knowledge and skills happen. Majority of the present generation grew up in the rural areas do not have so much passion for computers simply because they did not grow up with it, and most of them grew up without computers and unfluctuating common electricity. Because of that, they would rather prefer someone do stuff with a computer for them than doing it by themselves. Furthermore, because of the lack of ICT knowledge and skills, it also can bring some negative impact for some developing countries. First, the information and communication technology system is not being fully exploited by the rural folks and the healthcare professionals. Second, the level of ICT knowledge and skills among both healthcare providers and consumers is so little that it disheartens the stakeholders from accepting the e-health system. Because of the majority of the present generation grew up in the rural areas without computers, this also attributes to the low implementation of e-health among rural folks and the clinicians. Furthermore, the correlation between ICT skills and implementation of e-health is also discussed as inadequate ICT skills in the healthcare sector in rural areas explain the low implementation of e-health system. There is a view that the healthcare professionals who have deficiency in ICT skills in management, the online health data end up using too much time. Therefore, without adequate ICT knowledge and skills, makes user contribution in selection and development of ICTs becomes difficult. This might lead to having e-health technologies not widely accepted adequately in rural areas. To conclude, information, communication and technology knowledge are highly important in order to apply a useful e-health system. Not just that, kids should grow up knowing how to deal with technology so that it gives us better results in applying the e-health system in the future. Both the government and the society must help each other willingly to contribute for the greater good, and with the existence of this assortment and challenges, both can necessitate each other to employ the e-health technology for a stronger and finer healthcare system.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdullah Abdul Jawad, metric number 1829701, and I would be presenting our second main point, the lack of power supply. So for this main point, it's pretty obvious that all machines are depending on the power supply so that they can work. As if there is no electricity, the machine wouldn't be able to convert the electrical power into mechanical power, right? So our first main point is the importance of the power supply to those machines, which is pretty obvious. Then the continuity of the service is depending on the continuity of the power supply. So let's say if there is a power supply and then it's gone, so there is a machine failure, and that wouldn't be a good thing in case of health systems. Now we have three reasons behind the lack of the power supply, which are the deployment cost, because most of the governments are viewing it as it's a luxury of life, especially for the rural parts, not in the main cities. So we can find some developing countries that are having good electrical health systems in the main cities, but it would be very bad for those living on rural parts. The second one is the corruption of the governors. So some governors view it as if we are living good, so which is not the case here, because we need to create an equal right for everyone to get a health care, right? So if we solved this corruption thing, the deployment cost would be solved, because then it wouldn't be viewed as a luxury. It would be a everyday life necessity. Then we have the continuity of the power service. As we mentioned up here, we need the power supply to be continuous so that the health system would be going on. Because other than that, we'd be deploying our lives into just the hands of just some machine that is not working properly due to the power supply keeps coming in and out. How it affects the electronic systems. So machines are depending on it as a main source of power. Second thing, cloud services are needed in some systems, like registration systems, for example, if we take it. So if we are storing everything on cloud and there's no electricity, we wouldn't be able to retrieve anything or save new records. Third thing, it's crucial for doctors to be able to work in a proper way and finish the jobs they are assigned to. Just imagine some doctor trying to perform an operation in a dim light. That wouldn't be a good thing. Last and not least, the money invested into electronic systems is wasted or not. So to know that, we would have to compare two things. What are the good signs about it, and what are the bad stuff about it? So first of all, we have less human power wasted in archiving files and stuff, because since everything is on a computer or in a cloud service, so this wouldn't be, we wouldn't need that much human in archiving this stuff. More efficient and data retrieve is faster. Since it's fine, we can just type in the name of the page ID and everything would be fine. Like, we'd be getting everything we need. Reliable, since there would be almost no data loss, except of if there was a power supply issue. Other than that, it would be more reliable than having some guys running around in the archive trying to find out or trying to retrieve the data of the patient. Having the data on online database can save tons of lives. Like if some patient have his file in a hospital and he had an accident in another hospital or near another hospital, they would know his medical records and everything about him would be saved, right? Saved online. So it would be much faster, more efficient, and could save his life. For the bad side, we have it would be more power consuming, as we would be having all of those machines running on computers, on electricity. So that would be a lot more of cost than the power consuming if it was run by human. And then we have the running cost. Running cost of machines, sometimes they need maintenance, sometimes they would need to be upgraded, sometimes stuff like that. So all of these stuff would affect these are the only bad sides that we could find for having an electronic system.
The third and final problem is the lack of acceptance between the individuals towards the e-health system. As we all know, most of the developing countries are acquired with poor education, hence makes it difficult for them to trust new technologies that are to be introduced to them. For instance, there is a perception that computers and technologies can bring high risk to safety, validity, and reliability, especially to privacy and security. From there, not the majority of them have strong acceptance and beliefs between themselves, hence no stakeholders will contribute in buying or developing the e-electronic health systems, which leads to even worse service provided by the electronic health system. To conclude, strong beliefs among individuals is a must in order to gain the trust and assurance among stakeholders for them to contribute in developing the e-health systems. Without the support and influence from the higher establishment, implementation of e-healthcare services are likely to be successful, and getting the users to involve can also be the key towards a well implementation of electronic healthcare systems. In a nutshell, the e-health system has a lot of promise in terms of bringing significant improvements and cost-effective access to health care, but because of lack of fundamental ICT knowledge, low electrical supplies, and a lack of acceptance among persons in society, e-healthcare systems are becoming an issue for developing countries. Therefore, for our recommendation, responsible parties can provide free training of basic ICT skills for both consumers and providers in order to increase their fundamental in ICT knowledge. Besides, government can also set up a low price for electricity. Therefore, all consumers can use electrical suppliers. And finally, the government can build a user-friendly and successful electronic health system for rural communities. Like example, they can build a system with a native language besides English. Therefore, it can increase the acceptance among persons in the society and hence make electronic healthcare system to be accepted and acquired in the developing countries. That's all from us. Thank you.